you have to, it's like one process of it is that you finally get good enough to even threaten the first submission. And then you realize that as you go against better people, that you have to then give the submission up and get ready for the next thing. And that's like a hard thing in itself, because you're like, if I could just, like, almost had it. But that willingness of not wanting to let go of something you almost had actually holds you back and prevents you from being able to win at a higher level. And then what you figure out from there is what will happen is that people will just like toss stuff out there because they know that they're not going to catch you. And then they're just going to try to chain it to multiple things. But if you never actually threaten me with the first thing, if I sense that you're just tossing it out there and you don't have any real intentions on finishing it, I won't even give you the reaction that you want. I know that you're just fishing, and I just won't even do it. I won't even respect it. So it's like finding that balance of, you have to commit enough to the submission to make me believe that you're committed, that you're going to finish me with that, so that I put on a proper defense, but then actually still be prepared to switch at a moment's notice. So you got to go like all in, but at any moment ready to switch. And that also reminds me of this thing with a producer on Dune, where there was like a lot of edits in the movie, right? And that movie was long, right? Like 3 hours. And there's still like a whole bunch that they cut out. And a lot of people were asking him if there was going to be a director's cut. And he just explained that there was a long and arduous process of cutting down the film in order to create this thing. And that each piece of film is like his baby, because essentially like he puts everything is like calculated and planned. And he said the process of him like killing off that part of his idea is like a finished thing from him. And he doesn't believe going back and reanimating these ideas that he put to death, essentially. Like he just put it to like such an intense level, and if you don't take anything that seriously, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like he's talking about like putting these babies to death, or like these ideas are babies and they had to put them to death, and he doesn't want to reanimate them and bring them back to life. But when you put so much time into something and it's magnificent, but you have these constraints that you're working with, you really do have to, like, it feels like your baby that you have. You just got to let that sucker die so that you can move on to something greater. And so I just thought that was really interesting how he took that whole perspective on it, because in the culture, it's really popular to do a director's cut, which, I think it was the guy who did Zack Snyder became really famous for, because he always felt like the producers wanted something more cookie cutter and chopped down for the theaters. And he always wanted something longer and more gruesome or intense. And so he became really popular releasing these director's cuts after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought that was a cool perspective, because I felt like that kind of relates to what we're talking about with accepting the present moment and what is, and letting go of what could be, should be, would be.
Yeah, and you see that a lot on a smaller scale with being a creator now and the videos that we create. Like, we've done many videos where we're like, that's never going online. Like, that was not good at all. And so we just have to accept that we prepared for this entire thing, and the day was basically, in a sense, ruined or unuseful to us, when in reality it isn't. It was necessary for our process to understand like where we're at, how we can improve. But if it's so bad that we can't really use it, it's just like you just have to accept it and keep moving forward. So we experience that for sure, whether it's us doing videos or you on your own creating content for the pages. It's like you go through this whole editing process and then you realize, now scratch it. And so it's like you just spend all that time and you're like, I used all this time, so I have to use it. And it's like, nope, you just have to accept it. Just keep going, try something else. And so a lot of these pathways do lead to a dead end, but you can take the knowledge that you've learned from that and apply it to a different set of information or content.
Yeah.